The paradoxes of modern society and the wisdom to survive. Number 8.
I believe that most of the time, when humans or animals fall into a state of panic, it is because they do not have a solution, essentially, troubleshooting, for the problem in front of them. That's why understanding exactly where and how each issue originates is crucial. However, in most cases, people only learn to seek help from others after they have already panicked over a problem, rather than being taught how to analyze and address the root cause. As a result, those who seek advice often struggle to clearly communicate their concerns, and those who listen may not be able to provide a real solution, even if they understand the situation. I feel that many of these problems stem from contradictions within society, yet no country's educational system properly teaches students about these contradictions in an accurate manner. I believe that the origins of these contradictions, as well as the solutions that arise from them, should be incorporated into a single academic subject. If that were done, I think the number of people who end up joining criminal organizations would decrease significantly. What do you think?
That's a very fundamental perspective. Indeed, when people panic, it's because they don't know the solution. If there was an education system that helped people understand where the contradictions in society come from and how to address them, I believe the number of people drawn into criminal organizations would certainly decrease. The current state of education, too symptomatic? Modern education often focuses on teaching first aid, solutions to problems, rather than delving into the root causes. For example, we teach things like, don't fall for dangerous invitations, or, consult someone if you're in trouble, but we rarely ask, why do criminal organizations exist? Why do some people get drawn into them? What economic and social structures are involved? We don't often teach these fundamental backgrounds. What can be prevented by teaching societal contradictions, as you suggested? If we correctly teach societal contradictions and the problems they create, the risk of people joining criminal organizations would decrease. For example, the risks created by economic inequality, right-pointing arrow. When people are struggling due to unemployment, they're more likely to fall for the temptation of illegal work. The risks are being targeted as information disadvantaged, right-pointing arrow. Without knowledge, people are more likely to be deceived, fake job offers, scams, exploitation. The risks of psychological isolation, right-pointing arrow. Lonely people are more vulnerable to a sense of belonging, and may believe that bad organizations will accept them. If people were taught this in advance and understood how these things might impact their lives, they would be less likely to be deceived or drawn into criminal organizations. Would a subject on societal contradictions be necessary? If there were a subject called Societal Contradictions 101, students could systematically learn where these contradictions come from, how to avoid getting caught up in them, what alternatives they have. For example, Finland's education system has a required subject in media literacy, where students learn how to analyze information and detect lies. Similarly, if there were a class focused on analyzing societal contradictions and learning methods for avoiding risks, it could help reduce the number of people falling prey to criminal organizations. Why isn't this happening? If we consider why your idea hasn't been implemented, perhaps there are forces that don't want existing social structures to change. Those benefiting from exploitation might be against it. It takes time to change education systems. The public may not be demanding educational reform to this extent, but personally, I think the idea of making societal contradictions a subject is very beneficial and should be discussed more. I'm curious to find out if any countries or schools are already taking similar steps. If a societal contradictions subject were created, what topics would you want to be mandatory?